And now broadcasting live from the Dark Room studio at Craven Community College, it's In the Know.
Hey everybody, and welcome to In the Know. This is a show that we do here on the campus of Craven Community College where we just talk about things going on in our community, talk about the thing of the day, talk about a lot of nonsense right off the bat usually, but fortunately I don't do this by myself. I've got a whole team here with me. Who's to my right?
Hey, everybody.
Hey.
Just let's go back. You just said nonsense and looked straight at me.
Yes. Hey, I don't
so
look at anybody else
I'm not going to take offense to that.
You shouldn't.
Okay, good.
I think nonsense is a good thing. We should all strive for a little bit more nonsense in our life. Yeah.
Nonsense. We're not going to go there. Today,
well, you've already gone.
It's Wednesday, October 19th. It's noontime. You may be watching us later, but right now we know that we love noontime, and the lady to my right likes it because it's lunchtime.
Lunchtime. Hey, guys. Wendy White. Thanks for joining us. If you're watching us on the replay, be sure to hit the like button so that we know you're here. And as always, you're welcome to join in our silliness and add a comment or a question. We'll be glad to answer any questions, or we love to have your comments.
Or make up answers to questions.
Yes.
That's our favorite, really.
Absolutely. You never know. Trivia might happen. I'm going to throw it to our booth today.
Who we got in the booth today? Hey, we got Zanetta. Hey, Zanetta and Holly and Eli.
Hey, y'all.
No
mic?
They're very quiet today.
Yes, they're very quiet.
Sorry.
That's okay.
They were serious earlier, so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Why is everybody so serious?
I don't know.
No. They didn't get the silly memo, I guess, or the nonsense memo.
The nonsense. Again, he looked at me. He looked right at me. Nonsense.
Yeah, I'm going to just do like dead eye contact.
Yes. Okay.
Nonsense. Yeah.
Nonsensical.
There we go. Right off. Yeah.
All right. I'll take it. I'm going to own it.
Yes. And we also have a guest with us today.
We do.
We'll go ahead and bring him into the nonsense too so he can take no responsibility for it and just kind of watch, right? Yeah. So anyway, joining us today, we have Gery Boucher, our VP of Students. Welcome to the show, Gery.
Well, thank you.
Yeah. Good to have you on the show. For people who may not have seen the promo, you're going to be talking about not just the college today, but
fishtails.
Fishtails.
Plenty of fishtails.
Fishtails from Gery.
Are they this big?
Oh, they're going to be
this
big. They're going to be big.
They're big.
What about proof? About pictures, I believe.
Proof.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Proof is in the pudding.
There you
So
go.
for anybody who is looking to learn more about fishing, or it's this time of year where they want to maybe go out and have a little bit of luck, Gery's going to have a few tips.
There is no
and
luck in
fishtails.
fishing.
No. Okay. So it's just all skill.
I mean,
It's all luck.
It's hard to say. A little luck's mixed in.
A little bit.
Yeah.
A little bit.
A little bit here and there.
Yeah.
Okay.
You know.
Yeah.
Well, it is that time of year, though, right? For
Cold
fishing?
weather's good.
Yeah.
This is trout season.
And we haven't had a lot of runoff. I mean, Ian came in, yes, but that's kind of gone. But the runoff kind of calmed things down.
That's right. The water's nice and salty, which fish love.
Yep. And what is it? The yellow butterflies are flying around?
Most definitely.
So it's time to catch.
What does that mean? I don't know what that means.
It's time to catch spots.
Spots, really any kind of fish,
Yeah.
but spot, yep, the yellow butterflies come across, you follow them right to the fish. Easily.
Really?
Most
That's the
definitely.
thing? Okay, I've never
That's
heard
a
of that.
local
Did you know
thing.
that too, Wendy?
Yeah.
I guess I'm out of the loop here.
Poor thing.
Gotta go fishing.
All right. But you're now in the know.
Yeah.
Yes.
You are now in the know.
Well,
So-
I'm sure I'm not the only person. Maybe somebody is learning about this for the first time as well. So
I'm
it's the
sure.
little yellow butterflies going across the water.
the
If you
ones that
see
don't
them-
have any speckles. They're just like solid
Solid yellow.
Yeah.
yellow.
Okay.
Almost kind of a neon color, too,
Yeah,
sometimes.
they're real pretty.
Yeah, they're
And
very pretty.
There's a lot of them. They go around and real nice.
Okay. Great. I'll do that. I've already learned something. Yeah.
Now you can go
I'll
home
see
and
you.
tell
Have
your
a great
son.
day.
But then you can share that with your son, because I know he learned how to fish a few years ago, right?
Yeah. He loves it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And we don't necessarily go out on a boat fishing very much, but we do go to the pier from time to time, and he really enjoys that.
you thudded.
We have been.
You're not
Let's go ahead and
supposed to
clarify
laugh.
this. Yeah,
Yeah.
let's go ahead and
Wendy's
get
got
to
her
the
hands.
right. Yeah,
This is what Wendy's doing.
We got in trouble from our control room because we talk with our hands too much and we bang on the table too much and make noises.
And fidget.
And so I
Yes.
fidgeted and I banged the table like an angry psychopath, I guess.
Something.
And it makes noise, right? And I guess our viewers don't like it, but especially the booth doesn't like it. You see how they're not cutting away to the booth at all. We can all see they're in there. But anyway.
Well,
Keeping
good.
my hands
Well,
in my lap.
okay. So can we just cut straight to it?
Yes, please do.
So today,
You were just, I could see it in your eyes. You were just like, you were shutting me down. You were checked out of everything that was coming out of my mouth because you had something to say. And
It
that's
does.
okay. That's what we do.
That is
Showbiz,
exactly what I
folks.
do. Stop.
Showbiz.
Stop. So today is National Seafood Bisque Day. So it kind of goes right along
Oh.
with our guest.
Wow.
Nice.
And I did not
great
bring
picture.
any. bisque
good.
with me today.
Yeah.
Bisque can be a little fragile, so because of the cream and things like that. And so
It'll separate.
it's
It
not
will.
like what was the thing that I
down.
brought and I kept it warm because it was on my console of the car. It was something like that. I can't remember.
Pie.
It wasn't
apple.
It wasn't the apple brown Betty. It was something else.
I forgot.
But this was something I was not going to take a chance of keeping
Yeah.
it
Your
warm on
dad.
my
But
console.
what makes it a bisque? Is it because of the cream?
That's what I'm going to get
Okay,
to.
great.
Yeah.
Yay.
So,
Okay, don't tell me it's because of the yellow butterflies, because I will just walk out the door.
So, seafood bisque is a smooth, creamy, and highly seasoned soup of French origin. Recipes call for strained broth of crustaceans. I like that word, crustaceans.
Let's all say it together. Crustaceans.
You got to do a smile and show some teeth.
Sesame Street or
So,
something.
they use seafood such as lobster, crab, shrimp, or crayfish.
Okay.
Okay. The name bisque, B-I-S-Q-U-E, bisque, is likely derived from Biscay, as in the Bay of Biscay. However, crustaceans are certainly biscuits, which is a French term. I actually Googled it and listened to the
Sorry to
translation
say,
twice.
you
All
did
right,
well
say
just
it again.
then.
I want to make
Biscuit.
biscuits.
Yes.
Okay.
So it means twice cooked. Now, I've never taken French, so if I did that incorrectly, I apologize. The recipe requires cooks to first saute the seafood lightly in their shells, then simmer in wine or cognac and aromatic herbs before being strained.
Sounds
like
delicious.
Sounds delicious.
Yeah.
Sounds like a lot of work, though.
why
I
you
do-
order
Megan
it
does a great job of
out.
letting us know of food that we want that's not in front of us right now
Yes.
to eat.
I'm sorry.
Every episode.
So, do you guys like? I mean, have you had seafood bisque or
Oh, yeah, of
lobster bisque
course.
or
Yeah,
shrimp bisque?
love it.
Okay, what's your favorite in town? In town, I have two.
What's yours? Go ahead.
Yeah.
Throw it out there.
And it's been a while since I've had the one at the Chelsea, but the Chelsea has a wonderful seafood bisque, and you can taste the nutmeg, the little shaving of nutmeg at the very end, and a little bit of the wine. It's yummy.
Eli, do they have a bisque at MJ's as well?
A clam chowder.
Oh, it's a clam chowder.
Oh, now a chowder. We'll get to that in a minute. It's very different. So anyway, but the other one I like is at Morgan's. They have the lobster bisque,
Okay.
and you can get it with a little chunk of lumped crab meat on top. If you get the bowl, they'll put lumped crab meat on top.
Okay.
It's very good.
That sounds
really
great.
good.
I'm all about some
Yeah.
bisque.
Not
Where is
about
it?
making it, but I'm about eating it.
Because you got to cook them twice.
Oh,
So the
that's
difference
great.
between a bisque and a cream soup, a bisque, the cream is added early in the cooking process. Cream soup adds the cream at the last. The amount of seasoning is also very different in the two soups. So it's
Okay.
heavily seasoned. Bisques are, do you think bisques are only made with seafood?
No.
Correct. Originally they were.
Good guess.
I gotta let you. But however, you can add now new star flavors like chicken, potato, corn, for example. Now, again, traditionally it's hot, but you can have a cold bisque. Have you ever had a cold bisque?
I have, but only because I didn't put it in the microwave long enough.
No. So I've actually had cold bisque soup with cherries made out of fruit and cherries.
Oh, wow.
It was very
Interesting.
good.
Isn't that just pudding?
No.
What is that? That's not a bisque.
Cream
That's
and
cream and
Don't
cherries
bust on
and
me.
fruit?
Don't bust on me. Okay.
What? No, the show is over if I'm not allowed to do that.
Anyway, so seafood bisque.
Okay.
So
very nice.
I mean, of course, I've got other ones, but one of my favorite things to do, back to fishing, is I would make a fish stew, but sometimes it's creamy and sometimes it's not. And I love trigger.
Very
oh,
good
trigger
fish.
fish is good.
Delicious.
Really good.
It is a good fish.
It's full of bones, but they're kind of big, accessible bones. So if you bake it off and then let it cool, they kind of separate from the bone. You know what I'm talking about,
Oh, yeah.
right? And you can literally just like pull it out with your fingers and just dump it in. It makes the best
I have not had
soup.
trigger fish in I don't know how
Oh,
long.
it's
Yeah.
so good.
It's been a while.
That's good. They're tough to catch. You got to go way out there to catch
Yeah.
them.
So, well, Gery was a spear fisherman, so he would doot doot underneath.
Oh,
Toot, toot. Is that how it is?
we
that-
have that
yeah,
too.
you have to
sound
make that
effects.
noise, actually.
Sound effects are part
I
of the
came from
show.
the
Swim
booth,
the
right?
whole time with your head just above the water. So you go,
Toot, toot.
That would be snorkeling.
I would love to see that.
yeah.
No, this is scuba diving.
Yeah, I got it.
So anyway, so he used to come home with them. So, but yeah,
Delicious.
Anyway, it is very good.
A lot of the ingredients is what I use for bait, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Crustaceans,
You
right?
should, yeah, a bait bisque.
Yeah,
there
bait
probably is
bisque.
one
Now,
called.
that would be
there probably
good.
is a bait bisque.
Never heard of it. Never seen it.
I'll
Like to
bet
try
there
it.
is, Yeah.
Well,
I don't know about that.
We got shrimp in the freezer. We'll just
As long as it's
saute
fresh.
'em.
Fresh
Yeah.
bait. You don't
There
want
you
the
go.
old
Fresh
bait.
bait. There you go.
So we're all kind of movie junkies, right? We like movies. I know the booth likes movies.
Yeah.
So what is your favorite, back to my fun word, what is your favorite crustacean in a movie?
My favorite crustacean in a movie?
Mm-hmm.
That's tough.
Right?
I don't know if I could
Eli.
name
I bet
one.
Eli
Much
has
less
one.
my
Hey,
favorite.
Can someone
on,
give
Eli,
us
think of
one?
it.
There was a
get-
crab in The Little Mermaid, right? Is that who you're thinking
Sebastian.
of?
Sebastian, yeah.
That's a good one.
Cool.
That's a good one.
Eli,
You
think of
see how I
another
did
one.
that?
Yeah.
There was a crab.
That's my sound effect.
There's a crab and a newer one, Moana.
Yes.
That guy is funny.
He's sparkly.
yeah.
He's
Okay.
sparkly.
Oh, yeah.
He's sparkly. I liked it.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name.
I don't know. I'm sorry.
Alice in Wonderland had a crab.
I don't remember that one either.
I don't
I guess I
either.
just when I,
I
see a
Googled it.
crustacean in a movie,
Oh,
yeah.
okay.
Cheated. I
Cheated.
Googled it.
Right.
Thought you
I
would.
said I should have pre-Googled
Yeah.
before.
Crustaceans.
Yeah, usually if you ask somebody their favorite crustacean in a movie, they know like 7 right off the bat. But you've put us on the spot here and we couldn't remember any
I
of them. So
don't know 7 off the spot.
Neither do I know.
But Sebastian and the sparkly one from Moana.
Moana. Yeah. Which I saw Moana Jr. at Rivertown a couple of weeks ago. And,
How was it?
and
I
It was
heard
really
it-
good.
I heard it was really
It was
good.
really good, yeah. Mm-hmm. Aaron Williams from
You didn't
Newport High
recognize there was a crab on stage?
School. I did. But it was
Okay.
the costuming was done
Sparkly?
It was very sparkly.
Well, it was Aaron
actually.
Williams, of course.
Yeah,
gonna
it
be
was very sparkly. Yeah, I mean, it was a really interesting costume with like long, very long tentacles, and yeah, it was
That
the best
would be an
costume.
octopus with long tentacles.
Well, so long claws. Okay. It was the best costume of the production for sure. Was that whatever that character's name is?
Very cool.
Yeah,
Cool. So it's also National Kentucky Day. Have you ever been to Kentucky?
I've been many times.
Really?
Yeah.
I've only driven through it. I've never
Wait, National Kentucky Day?
Kentucky Day.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We had
Very
National North
interesting.
Carolina Day a couple of weeks
Really?
ago. Yeah.
Yeah.
Gosh, I'm not
Yeah.
up on my nationals, so I got to really
Yeah.
start focusing.
Yeah, my family is from there, so I used to go there for Thanksgiving. Every November, when they have Thanksgiving.
Like the third Thursday?
yeah, yeah. But no, so I used to go there quite a bit. It's beautiful up there.
It is very pretty.
Mm-hmm.
Never
It's very
been.
pretty. Kentucky's bordered by rivers on 3 of its 4 boundaries. So you might need to go check this out, Mr.
Wow.
Boucher.
Very interesting.
Yeah. So they also, which I really think is cool, of course, that was the birthplace of Abraham Lincoln. So you can go and visit that. Daniel Boone, he blazed through Kentucky. Mammoth Cave. Oh, this is kind of a cool thing. Mammoth Cave. Have you ever been? Did you ever go?
No.
Really cool stuff. I just saw the pictures. I've never been either. But it's full of forests and lakes and waterfalls. And do you think it was named Mammoth because of fossils that were found in the area or because of the size?
I would guess the size.
Yeah.
You're correct.
Yeah.
You're smart.
Sometimes.
You are correct.
I can pull it out every once in a while.
So what is the favorite drink of Kentucky Derby? The Triple Crown? Anybody know?
The mint julep.
Mint juleps.
Mint
yes.
julep. That's right. Very good.
Didn't know that.
You
No?
didn't?
No, I did
You
not.
got to get out a little bit.
Yeah, you're right.
It's a good drink. Yeah.
So they have a rival, the Hoosiers. What is the sport that they compete? What is it?
Basketball.
Basketball.
Most definitely.
Very good. They have 7 national parks. I think these are some cool facts.
There's a lot of things about Kentucky.
Yeah.
Right.
There are.
Yeah.
So Lewis and Clark, they actually did. They went. There's a trail that's 4,900 miles through Kentucky, which is kind of cool. Actually, it's 16 different states, so because that's a lot. But it goes through Kentucky. Trail of Tears, Mill Springs Battlefield. So 7 national parks. It brings in 1.6 million visitors,
Wow.
which is pretty awesome, which generates $1.2 million in dollars for national park tourism. So we love our national parks. So,
And our
yes.
state parks. Just by the way, we had the Career on Wheels event here yesterday.
Yes. How did that go?
And it was really good.
Cool.
It was
busy.
a great partnership
Yes.
with Craven County Schools. And who was our key player over at Craven County Schools that we worked with on that?
Holly
game?
Tolston.
Holly Tolston.
She did a
yeah.
great job. Her
Yeah.
team's outstanding.
Yeah. So they had lots of different organizations come out. And the reason I said that is because one of them was North Carolina State Parks. So I spoke
Oh,
with the
fun.
park ranger over there for a little bit. And she had a stuffed owl over there that I kept looking at. I couldn't determine if it was very still or actually stuffed.
What was
Still
you
not
stuffed
sure.
with?
Well, I don't know. What do you when you do taxidermy? What do you stuff an owl with?
I'm not sure.
Don't
about
you
an
know?
owl.
No. Okay,
I
Megan,
don't.
name your favorite stuffing of a taxidermied owl in a movie. Go.
So we had a taxidermy turkey in our living room.
What, was it Thanksgiving? Was it stuffed
No,
with bread?
It was
Were people
not
standing around it and carving into it?
So it looked.
Were you in Kentucky?
You can appreciate this.
That's
with a
pretty
husband.
interesting.
So,
I got to see a picture of that.
Right.
Well, okay, it wasn't party fowl. I mean, waterfowl. So it got toasted during Florence. So and then get this, somebody stole him off of our pile of trash.
I mean, that's pretty neat.
It was a really
Right?
cool bird. So it was my husband's first hunt in Jones County for turkey. His first call, his first bird. He shot him right in the head, and he took.
Poor turkey.
We ate him. We ate him. So, I mean, it wasn't that poor. But he wanted him mounted exactly the way he looked coming out of the woods. So it wasn't full feathers. You know, it wasn't a
Yeah.
full strut. But he had like a 4-inch beard, and he had the 1.5-inch claw. I mean, he was a big turkey. I didn't like him. I called him Mr. Ugly. He was ugly. And my children called. They
Man,
named
that's
him.
just not nice.
He
No,
was
you're calling it
they're
a turkey
ugly.
names, a stuffed turkey names.
Yeah, so, and my children called him Mr. Feathers. So the only time I ever liked Mr. Feathers was during the fall season, and he was the centerpiece of my buffet for decoration. And yes, I do have plenty of pictures, and it looked really cool. Until he was on top of the trash pile. And the kids from ECU that
So
came
the
to
trash buffet, I guess.
the trash buffet.
It's enticing.
The kids from ECU that came to help us muck out one weekend, they thought it was cool. So they actually literally put him up on the top of the highest piece of furniture that we had. But when one of the councilmen came down, they're like, "Oh, that's a really good looking turkey." I'm like, "Yeah, it ain't waterfowl though." So
Yeah.
he floated around the dining room, got knocked around. So anyway.
Yeah.
What was he stuffed with? I don't know. That was the original question.
Yeah, I'm glad you circled back around to that because it's tearing me up.
I don't remember.
Yeah,
Stuffing.
It's usually a mold.
Da-da-da.
It's usually
Yeah.
a mold. Like they mold.
Yeah.
I know.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
Sometimes foam.
Yeah.
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 Gary, do you ever stuff or mount any of your catches?
You know, I haven't.
Yeah.
I have buddies who do it all the time, but I've just never caught the one that I want stuffed up there. Because if I'm going to do it, I'm going to get a big, big trout.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
9-pounder, 10-pounder.
Uh-huh.
That'd be great.
Now
It
you
would
don't
be.
have to use the original. They'll do it in fiberglass.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They changed that
So the
several years
scales
ago.
don't come off and stuff.
You can
There
still
you
do
go.
it the old school way.
You
But yeah,
could.
I learned that when I was living in Carteret County covering Big Rock, I learned when they would get them mounted, they basically just measure.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
the
take
length of-
pictures and get markings. And
Yeah. Yeah.
And recreate
I don't know if
it.
my wife would like. I mean, she's very tolerant of my fishing habits, but I don't know if she'd want a stuffed trout right in
Yeah.
the middle of her
Right.
house. Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
I
it's
don't-
fair.
How many,
My
how
dad.
many deer mounts do you have in your house? Because I got a lot.
Do you have a
I
lot?
have a lot.
I do
Yeah.
too. Almost in every
Yeah.
room. When you walk in my front door, there's a giant bear.
Well, so
Yeah. I've got a deer in my dining room.
I made my husband put them in the man cave in the garage. So there's like a wall of them.
No, I like put pretty pictures and plates around them.
No, they're in the garage.
No fur.
Yeah, that's where my garage or shed.
No
Yeah.
fur in the
That's where mine would be.
kitchen. That's where I stopped. No fur in the kitchen.
Well, we've got
But
several.
feathers are okay.
No, I didn't like him.
Okay.
He wasn't
So-
in the kitchen.
Yeah, no, my daughter's killed some nice deer, and we got one coming in shortly takes a year to get them mounted. So,
Wow.
yeah, hers will be in sometime mid-November, and
We've got
Lots
a
of
handful
them.
of European mounts too,
yep, we have several of those as well.
Yeah.
I could
like in the house.
make a wall of, yeah.
So those
It's
were.
like a museum.
Yeah.
Yeah, it kind of is.
I mean, you know,
well,
Yes.
you might be
You could have
surprised.
set up at Career on Wheels yesterday.
Good
seriously,
have.
you should
Good
run it all
have.
out. Kids would have
We've
loved it,
got
I'm
the
telling you.
Ducks hanging. Like, I don't like my husband's duck mounts, but we got ducks, we've got deer,
Wow.
we're woodsy people. We don't have a fish. My father-in-law, he caught a nice bass years and years and years ago. So we have that,
Cool.
mount, a nice bass fish, but we've never mounted any fish.
Yeah.
My husband had a bluefish mounted, a couple bass, largemouth, smallmouth, and they put them in the little wood plaques and they're kind of like bent forward,
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but after years, they just kind of get.
I've got that
yucky.
bass that sings to you.
Yeah.
You know, take
Yeah.
it out of the water. But that's in the garage. That's not allowed in the house.
Take
It
it
was
to
in the
the
house for
river.
maybe a day when I first got it.
Yeah.
My dad had that same one.
Got
Yeah.
to go.
And then that
Yeah.
song sticks to your head all day
Yeah.
long.
The Talking Head song.
Yes, yes.
Take me to the river.
I shouldn't sing on the radio. I'm not very good at that.
Drop me in the water.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's a classic.
Yes.
None, I don't have any of those.
It's very cool.
I would, though. If I got bear stuffed, I'd put some kind of growl in it so I could push a button and growl at me.
Growl
Right?
people
You know,
when they
why
walk
not?
by.
Yeah.
Well, I have
Kinda
a
neat.
sign above the
Yeah,
door
the
frame by
taxidermy-
it.
Or its eyes would open
it
up,
says
or
don't
move.
feed.
I think that'd be kind of fun.
Well, I get a phone call from Michaela. She's little, and she and her daddy had gone out on the four-wheeler at the hunting club. She's like, Mommy, we got a big snake. And I'm like, You what? She says, we got a big snake, and I'm bringing it home so we can put it in, they call him Bear Dew. We're going to put it in Bear Dew's mouth coming out. I said, no, you're not.
No.
I was like,
No.
no, you're not. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. So, but well, it's hunting season. So, I mean, this
It
is
is
kind of
hunting
conversation.
season.
It
Yeah.
is.
Season.
Yeah.
And great
Yeah,
trout
I think
season, too.
my dad might be hunting today, actually.
Really?
Yeah.
Very cool.
Yeah, he loves it.
Very good. So back to the college. Let's talk a little bit about this before we get schooled on more school.
Oh, she's
pun intended.
she's proud of
yeah,
herself.
very
on
good,
that
very
one.
good.
It's also Medical Assistant Recognition Day.
Bang, bang, smash.
Yes.
Medical Assistant Recognition Day. Oops, sorry, didn't mean to touch your knees. That is one of the health professionals who support the works of physicians and other health professionals, usually in a clinic setting. Their responsibilities can include both administrative and clinical duties, depending on the type and size of the facility, what state certifications are available, and the laws affected by where they work. Medical assistants can play a variety of roles. And of course, we offer the Nurse Aid 1 and 2 on both campuses, in Havelock as well as New Bern, and as well as phlebotomy. So these are skill sets that will lead up to these medical assistant programs. And I think I shared with Zanetta the link, so hopefully we can add that. So if anybody's interested in starting that program, we do have several of them coming up soon. So we can certainly help folks.
And medical assisting as well.
Correct.
Yeah,
Medical
yeah, we do.
assisting.
Yes.
Starting at the top. And would you like to share the news that just came down the path about our nursing program?
Yes, it's amazing. 6 years of hard work, Kathleen and the medical programs. They were nationally accredited, and that's really important in many ways, but primarily that our nursing graduates can now work on base and federal installations, which prior they could not, but now they can. And that's a big deal, especially having the bases so close to us. And there's a lot of
large
job
naval hospitals.
Oh, most definitely. Most definitely. A lot of great opportunities out there. So that is truly, truly hats off and an applaud to Craven Community College and the medical program, specifically nursing.
Yeah.
Very good.
Yeah,
and
it
it
was-
starts right there at the bottom. It works right on up. So,
They worked hard on that.
yay,
They did.
medical
They
assistants.
took a lot of effort, a lot of team effort to get that certification up and going. So,
But it was
lot
in
of hard
response
work.
to a community need, right? We heard the call that was something that was needed, particularly at base, and so we were able to help with that.
because we do have a big military base here, and so a lot of military wives will come in and they want to seek that career, and now this gives them options when they move around. So,
Yeah, most definitely transitioning to different bases throughout the world, really, at the end of the day. So
Yep.
that's wonderful.
yep.
That's right.
And Holly just posted a link to our medical assisting program, so thanks for that, Holly. Anybody who wants to maybe get started in that, click on that and learn more about it.
Join
Yeah.
the family.
The medical field's
Absolutely.
great. I mean, the
Yeah.
medical field has so many jobs out there right now. So if you need a career, medical's the way to go. One of
Yeah.
the ways to go.
Yeah,
It says it's one of the fastest growing careers in the nation.
I wrote that.
yeah.
It's right there. Second sentence. So it is.
So next to working in the medical field, I'm guessing you would rather work as a fisherman full time, Gary.
To be honest
if
with
you had
you,
your dream job,
that's my primary job. Yes,
Yeah.
fishing. Being Captain Gery on the boat out in the seas would be my dream job, and I do it, but I do it on a part-time basis.
yeah,
So, but this job pays for that.
There you
All these
go.
hobbies.
yeah,
So,
of course,
That's it.
although I do, for the record, love my job.
yeah.
Yes.
But yeah, I enjoy fishing. Fishing is a great time. I mean, it's just a really good time. And you mentioned fishing with family. I mean, really, that's how I got started. You know, when you've got kids that are running around, and I've got a 19-foot boat, I put them on the boat for 8 hours. And you know, kids, you ask them a question, "Hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? Are we up to nothing?"
Yeah.
After 8 hours of sitting on a boat, you know,
Yeah.
they start talking. You throw a couple Mountain Dews in there, they're
Yeah.
babbling.
Yeah.
And so you learn a lot about your kids, and that's how I got started. It was just a good time. And then from there, it became a passion. And my goal is to become, I don't know, an expert. 10,000 hours of anything, you become the expert.
That's right,
So
yeah.
I'm working towards that.
Yeah.
One day at a
That's
time,
great.
1 hour at a time.
I will say when my husband and I first started fishing, Darby, our daughter, she was little, maybe even 3, and we wanted her to go with us, right? So I think one of the maddest times he ever was at me, I'd always pack her a bag of toys and things to play with, and you know, had a blanket and all this kind of stuff on the boat. And so we're fishing and we're into the trout, like we're good, and all of a sudden Darby pulls out her dress-up clothes that I had packed with her plastic clonking shoes. So you ever heard the priceless thing, like boat X amount of dollars, fishing bait X amount of dollars, rod and reels X amount of dollars, daughter scaring away all the fish with her plastic princess shoes, priceless, right?
Dad mad.
Yes. And my husband was at first very angry at me, and then all we could do was just laugh, like, lesson learned. But Darby was happy, and you know, it was a great moment. So
well,
we
it's
love to
interesting
go.
to say that because fishing teaches you patience.
Yes.
And bringing your kids with you and friends of the kids, it really teaches you, and all the lines you have to untangle.
Yes.
You really do have that aha moment where you're like, you know what? If this is the worst thing I got to deal with all day, I'm all right with it.
There you
know?
go.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
And so that's really one of the reasons I go out too. It teaches a lot of life lessons. I mean, in a way, it's very scientific. I mean, you've got tides, you got winds, and so there's a lot of life lessons that we learn, at least my kids learn, and I feel I learn every day. So, and when I take people out fishing, I try to teach them that kind of stuff. Ultimately, respect for nature too. I mean, and you know what's been given to us, you got to give back and make return better. So I try to add all those wonderful lessons into it all the time.
Very cool.
Yeah.
So, Gery, you've got a lot of props and toys here with you.
I do.
I just want to give you an opportunity. If anybody is thinking about going fishing this weekend or the next couple of weeks, is there anything you can show them kind of like what's
well, this cold weather.
You're not going to tell coordinates because that's just
No,
shut mouth
no.
souls. That's just
No,
not
that-
going to happen. No, you
my
gotta-
friends would be calling right now and
yeah.
say, shut them off right now.
Yeah. No honey holes.
No, not at
giveaways.
all. Not at all. You know, so there's a bunch of different types of fishing, and I do pond and lake fishing, but my primary is inshore. It's a little safer, and as you get older, going outshore, you get beat up a little bit, and I don't love the next day when you're sore as all can be.
Yes.
Now, my sons, being young, they like to go out there and have a lot of fun. So right now, what's really hot is trout. I mean, that cold weather just snapped. They're going to be coming in, and in some places they're already here. And drum and flounder, although flounder season is over.
Kaputs after 2 days?
It's a month long, and there was a lot of
But they cut it off
flounder.
early though.
They extended it for commercial guys, but
Okay.
for the
Us guys.
for just the average Joe fisherman, you had about 30 days to do it. So, and I know my sons went out every single day. They were excited. They don't have a 8-hour
And
job.
one per person. So
One per person.
you got to go all month to have enough
You really do.
to enjoy. Yeah.
So that's my primary thing, you know. I also say, you know, and taking people fishing, it's not hard. I mean, it's not hard. I mean, really, you could go down to Walmart, buy a $19, $20 rod, and get some bait, and then go out there and just find some water and just make it happen. I like to fish live bait, and some fishermen don't like that. They like plastics. We'll talk a little bit about that if we have time. But I use live shrimp, live mullets, and I use it in different ways. You know, mullet's real good with drum. Mullet's real good with flounder. Shrimp's real good with trout. Shrimp's real good with some other types of species. And some people say it's easy, but I use bobbers, and I brought a rod today I'd like to show, but because it keeps kids entertained. You know, they can see it, and when it goes down, they can say, do I do it now? Do I do it now? And then I say, start reeling now. So
Set the hook.
it keeps them something focused on. Some days I stare at it so much, I see it in my sleep. You know, I'll see that bobber go down, and I'm like waking up, I think I got a fish, you know. But that's primarily some of the things that I do.
I think Eli's going to hand you a rod.
Yeah. So this is a little more complex of a rod, but you know, it's a typical bobber, right? It's got a weight so the bobber will hold down, right? This is, believe it or not, is that there's a slip knot here. So this determines how deep the water you're in, and fish are in different columns. And this is the scientific part. You got to figure it out, and how the tides are going, the winds, at the depth of the water, and everything that. I use a treble hook. You can't really see it, but I use a treble hook, and I put the shrimp there, and you toss it out, and you let the tide you let nature take its course, and you just slide it out there. And when it goes down, I tell a lot of young fishermen, give it about 3 seconds. That feels like a lifetime to them because they're excited. Yeah, give it 3 or 4 seconds. Start reeling real hard. Don't yank. Let the rod do the work, and then it happens. You can get all types of different rods. For me, I like the Penn Battle 3. Try to call them up later today and get a sponsor, but I like the Penn Battle 3. It's reasonable, anywhere from $100 to $110. It's very flexible. It's a light trout rod, and you can feel anything with it. But if your budget's not $100, I mean, you can get a decent rod and decent reel for a $50 range combo of sorts. So, so that's my go-to, Barbara, and I kind of like it because it's easy. You don't have to work as hard. I'm lazy a little bit when it comes to fishing, but more importantly, I'm always helping others. Yeah. So I need something quick I can get out of the water and is not complex, although it gets tangled. A little bit about I use braid. Braid's very important. And you always have to have a leader, and leader is different than the braid. Leader's got to be a fluorocarbon, which I like Gery, which is another company I'm going to call and sponsor. I like it. It just works for me. Other guys have different flavors, and they throw it on there as well. So this is my go-to. They actually you can buy this all connected already and just tie it onto your reel at Walmart or any one of the fishing stores and go out there and make it happen. And, at the end of the day, it's not always about what you catch. It's about the quality time and trying to figure it out. And then the moment you do, and it usually always happens, the moment you're bored, the moment, let's go home, you catch something. And then when you watch somebody reel it in or you reel it in, you're like, that's what brings you back. I mean, you're just that 30 seconds or 40 seconds of excitement. You're like, that is awesome.
Yeah.
So, there's a lot to it. There's science to it. I've got another, and I'll be quiet if you want because I can talk about this all day. Yeah. So then you have a Carolina rig. It's a lot different, a lot simple. Obviously made and born in the Carolinas. But it has your leader. This is a little dirty. I apologize. People will make fun of me. It's not clean cut, My sons will make fun of me when they see this. And then you've got, but I was doing it in the dark. So, and then you just got a weight right here. And this slides. And when it's on the bottom, the fish will move it around. And they'll move around. And a flounder will see it come by and stun it and then hit it. Or a drum will actually hit it and run with it. And it's funny, the more you fish, the more you know what you have as soon as it hits, or as soon as you actually hook it, you're like, hey, this is this or that, because the way they act and the way they move. This is a very inexpensive way to fish. And all you have to do is catch some bait, throw it on there, and it could be anything. It could be a crustacean. It could be it could be anything. It could be anything you want to throw out there. Heck, it could be a piece of bread, to be honest with you, because when fish are hungry and they see it,
when
they're going to hit
it's good.
And this is great for kids too, because if they snap it, they can put it back on real easy. But this I would say you mostly get flounder and drum. Occasionally you'll get a big trout, but usually flounder and drum. But then there's others that love plastics.
Yes.
I think you're a plastic
I'm
person.
A plastic
I can already
person.
tell. When you looked at me and said, what?
I'm a plastic person, yes.
That's funny.
Now, back to your live bait, though. Do you throw a net and catch your minnows and stuff, or do you go down the street and buy them?
So, all right, so a little bit of both.
Okay.
Because shrimp do come and go.
Watch the tap, you're going to get yelled at.
Shrimp come and go, bait come and go. Right now, they're all in hot and heavy, where you throw a couple casts and you get like hundreds of shrimp or hundreds of whatever you're going for. So we do. My arm's a little shot, so I always make sure they bring one of my kids with me. So they throw. Now I'll collect it up and put it in my live well and stuff. But they're very good at that. I mean, you could run Megan. They could catch you with that net. That's how good they are.
There you go.
Well, Megan's not going to run.
No, Megan's not going to run.
So I'll be a real easy catch.
Well, you run. So you can run.
I'll
My sons could
Okay,
lasso you with this net. You
In
know?
my heels, I can do it.
Yeah, you can do it. But yeah, so we do. We catch our own bait, and you got to find where that is. That's part of it. And when I take people fishing, I tell them that we're going to do just as I would take my sons out. So
they don't realize how early you have to start.
Well, and there's a lot to it. It's a lot of work.
It is.
But once you get it, and then
the setup, the cleanup, all of it.
That's right.
Yeah,
that's
it's
right.
like Thanksgiving dinner. It takes you days to put it out on the table, and then all of a sudden it's gone in 15 minutes. You're like, ugh.
But it's that moment in time that you're there, and you're like, this is all worth it. You know.
Yeah.
Well, when you were talking about like tying your rigs and stuff, I mean, I can't tell you how many times I've found my husband, like I couldn't find him, and I would find him in the garage, and I think him just sitting there making rigs was like therapeutic, because it's for somebody who has done it for decades. It's brainless, and it's an art, and it's creative, and trying to figure out what's the next weight or the filament, and
the knot.
Exactly, what's the knot?
Yeah, and every fisherman does it a little bit different. I mean, you could go out. I mean, heck, somebody might see this and say, hey, he's crazy, he's terrible, he doesn't know what he's doing, but everybody does it just a tad, and they pass it down to their kids or people they fish with. It's pretty neat.
And sometimes, and it's trade secrets that they don't always want to share.
No.
So, like the way you rig a live bait, how you would run the wire and come back and hook. It's not just sticking the mouth into the treble hook and hope for the best. It just doesn't work that way. I'm talking a language you didn't know, right?
No, I mean
a little bit, Okay.
No, I mean I do. I'm not an avid fisherman. I don't go fishing all the time. So yeah,
I love
but,
to
but I've
watch.
gone enough. I mean, I'm not lost here.
Okay. Sure.
He knows fish they live in water.
Yeah, they do.
You swim in schools.
What now?
Yes. Schools.
No, not sharks.
Well, I don't
Sharks
know.
actually do.
They do.
Some
Okay,
some
fine.
do.
Especially-
So I know nothing.
Especially around reefs and wrecks and things like that. There's a
So
cluster.
the movie Jaws taught me nothing then.
Well,
Okay.
it's a
No,
cluster.
that was a lone shark. That was
Yeah.
scary. I still have nightmares about that.
Yes.
Remember? That was scary.
Yeah.
Very scary.
Yeah.
Before you get to this one, because I want to talk
Yeah,
a little bit.
yeah.
No. Actually, let's talk about the fake bait, because
The
I want to
fake
tell you my
bait.
story,
So-
which I think I probably already told you, but I've not told you guys.
Okay.
It's
So
like
there's a
from
lot
his
of
neck
there's
the
a lot
woods.
of there's a lot of individuals who love plastic. In fact, a lot of tournaments in the area won't allow live bait. They only
Right.
allow plastic, especially drum tournaments. Now,
Yep.
trout tournaments are a little different. They do allow live bait, and I participate in a lot of those. But you same thing with the rod. You would tie it on the end with a leader, and what you have is you have a lead head, very simple. And then there's tons of baits. I mean, everybody loves their baits.
Yep.
I mean, you got mirror lure, you've got gulp, and they're all different shapes and sizes, and they all emulate the bait fish that's out there. They have shrimp. I mean, you name it. They've got all types of stuff. Actually, this is one of my favorites. I like it. It's sparkly. It's kinda
Do you
like
get them when they
really
smell? Do you get the smelly ones?
Yeah, I like the
Oh,
smell.
you like the smelly
Gotta
ones?
put
You know, one of my
some
questions I ask my
liquor.
sons all the time when we use new baits like artificial, I said, would you eat it? Heck yeah, Dad, I'll eat it. Well, then the fish will eat it. You're good to
Yeah,
go.
that's right. Put some Procure on that thing.
Oh, yeah.
and
Well, yeah. You goo it up, man. Just throw it out there. There
What
you
about
go.
the sparkly metal ones?
Okay, so then that's the top water, and there's
Mm-hmm.
mid-level water. I mean, it's a
Suspending.
billion-dollar business if you want to
Yeah.
think
For a
about
reason.
it. And I'll tell you,
Yes.
these are a little more expensive, and in a tournament or wherever or just general fishing, you're going to spend some money if you're real serious
Yeah.
about it. This is only. I mean, I've got stacks full of these live baits. I mean, these fake plastics in my garage.
Well, since you kind of figured I like plastic, can you guess what my favorite color is?
Chartreuse,
Try again.
pink.
Are you ready?
Yeah.
Whichever color's catching fish.
Oh, got me. I
yes,
like that.
Yes.
Yeah, well, we call that when you are catching and you're using lure, if they're throwing everything but the kitchen sink at
Everything.
it. Everything.
Every
And-
color. We'll even change up colors. Like you on the front of the boat hit the pink.
Yeah.
I'll hit the dark. You hit the glitter. Like just yeah.
But when you get it and you get the right one,
oh, we're all scrounging on the
everyone's
boat.
running around
Yeah.
and go, we got to get that.
Yeah,
We got to get
yeah.
that. It's fun. And it's a cruel sport because, and honestly, I mean, you could have a person out there that all they do is fish all the time. And then you have somebody who's not so much, but they have the right color and they're hitting it, and the person's there is like, what?
That right twitch, just that one
Everything.
little thing, or they let it rest longer or faster, or
That's
just
right.
that one thing. That's why I say there's a little bit of luck.
There is,
little bit
there
of
is,
luck.
but there's talent too. I mean,
Yeah.
And when I fish with people, and I usually take a first mate with me it's when I'm taking out on a charter or something like that. And honestly, 9 times out of 10, it's either me and my first mate who are catching the fish, and the people who are new are catching all the
Yeah.
junk fish. They're just not. There's subtle things that we do differently,
Mm-hmm.
and I try to explain it to them, but they, it's coordination. You get used to it. as
But do you
do
get
it
them
over.
hooked and then
Memory
pass them
muscle.
the
There are
rod
times where I do,
and say,
yeah.
Hey,
There
you
are
bring 'em in,
times.
Bring them in.
Well, it's funny because like my family will come down, we'll take them fishing, and they get better over time. But yeah, we do. When we catch, depending on how big it is, we'll hand the rod over,
Yeah.
and we lose a lot of fish that way, but we do it.
Well, I mean, that's one of the rules, especially if you're fishing with your kids and they're younger. If a fish is on, you're going to pass that
Yes,
rod off. and
most
let,
definitely.
So
let your
what-
kid reel it in.
Now my son's sometimes not. I'm like, yo, remember,
Yeah, yo.
we're not here for you. We're here for people who want to have fun. It's not all about you
Yeah.
That's funny.
because they're highly competitive,
We would take the kids camping, and of course core banks, and we would primitive camp. But fishing was always a big part of it. Well, a lot of times they would stay for 3 days, but because of work, I would come back on the ferry by myself. And because I also don't want to go 3 days without a shower. So just saying, it's not happening.
Bougie.
Just
Start
a
using
little
you for
bougie.
bait.
Yeah.
Stinky.
So, but we used to laugh because when Michaela was younger, Gery would say we wouldn't eat if she wasn't fishing because she was the only one bringing it in.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, she was great. But and that again, that's one of those memories, and they remember it too. And even now, 23 and 17, they're like, we can't wait to go have a fall
Oh,
camping trip right
Nice.
now.
Well,
So
it's
the
cool.
core banks.
A lot of my buddies go, why don't you golf? Well, I was terrible at golfing, so
Yeah.
I would never bring home a trophy or hardware, or anything like that. But I could bring fish home and I could bring food home.
Yeah.
So that was a trade-off because I would bring fish. I said, look, we got fish, honey, and so
I think we might actually have some photos of Gery
yeah.
bringing home fish that we could take a look at, so we know that he's actually legit and not.
I always tell my boys, no pictures, no fish. You got to show me the fish,
No pictures, no proof.
That's right.
Yeah.
That's right.
Do we have? Oh,
There we go.
Oh, that's
that's a little guy.
That's a happy guy right there.
Oh yeah, well I'll tell you why. Real quick, I know we're running out of time, but so we were in a tournament 3-4 weeks ago, and all we could use was plastic, and it was the longest day
You
ever.
were
And when I caught that
struggling.
fish, I
You're
said,
like,
"Ah!" It's like-
Yes.
and you know that feeling when you're just like, "Oh my goodness."
Finally.
Yes.
Yeah.
So
But
that
people
was.
who weren't there, they never see that, right? Like anytime you've gone fishing and you've gotten nothing all day, and then at the end of the day you reel in one that's that big,
Yeah.
you're probably going to end up with a picture of that fish.
And that's exactly what happened. I said, "Ah!" And everybody's like, "We got to take a picture."
Broke
of
the
that.
ice,
Yeah.
finally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. That's funny.
Do we have more?
Oh, there we go.
Yeah, so my
Some
brother,
nice
that's
trout.
my brother, and that's my son. And actually,
drum.
yeah, we caught a bunch of trout and drum that day. And you notice we're not out real deep. We're sitting out there just in some open water, and we've got marshes,
awesome.
marshes.
Now, I am
around us.
impressed that you did not blur out where you are right now, because our avid fishermen that watch are going to be trying to figure out that location.
Yeah, you're probably
mouth
right.
shut.
in
Yes.
things.
Yes.
I forgot to do that.
Pretty impressed you didn't do that.
But
You
yeah,
know, the cool thing though about that,
It's fun.
especially in this area, the story I was going to tell you about is I caught one of those, a speckled trout, down in your neck of the woods. We called it Dogwood Point because it was one little section near Bear Island, and it had one little beautiful dogwood that kind of arched over. And we were out there this time of year. My dad came down. It was one of the last fishing trips I had with my dad before he passed away. And Gery could not get the bait on there fast enough. We were hitting them 2-3 at a time.
It's awesome when you do
and
that.
when they're on, they're on. Well, I had been in Eastern North Carolina now for about 4.5 years, and my dad pulls me aside at dinner and he goes, "You don't talk like that at work, do you?" And I wasn't cursing. It was just like all of a sudden the Eastern North Carolina drawl came out. And my dad from up north was like, "You don't talk like that at work, do you?" So, but anyway, I ended up getting a citation for one of
that's
those.
good.
Yeah, so
Nice.
I had a big one. And I used to laugh. I'm like, I don't really care about the citation and getting the certificate, to hang up. I was so impressed. It was so fat. I could steak it.
Yeah.
I didn't have to
Yes.
fillet it. I could steak it. So that was cool.
Well, that's funny you said, because that's a whole nother element of fishing too. So when you do come home, you have to prepare it, and then you get to cook it. And so, my sons, we try different recipes, no matter what it is, kind of like your bisque over there. And we make soups, we grill it, we fry it, you name it different ways. And it's kind of fun too when people come over and they show you their ways. So, I mean, it becomes really, as I mentioned, family oriented in different aspects. And
But back to the area where I got it, my point is that the territory will change because then we had storms to blow through, and now you have an inlet there that wasn't there before. So where that little sleuth that we found is no longer there. So anyway, so that was my point.
And where those fish were is no longer found, right?
Yeah,
right?
it's
the
gone.
pictures.
Yeah,
It's gone.
that's right. That's right.
Don't try it.
That's right. But fishermen are pretty good. I mean, we'll be out in the water if you're having a bad day. If you go up to somebody, for the most part, they'll say, "Yeah, go over there, try this," and especially if you got kids on, they're usually pretty good about it. So, but they're beautiful fish. I mean, you can see, and they fight, and with light rods, which I showed you,
They're fun.
I mean, it takes skill and art to really bring them in. And when you really are, if it's one-on-one,
Yep.
and it's you versus that fish, and it gets away, it's disappointing.
Yeah.
I mean, I've seen people beat themselves up on some of the
I beat
fishing.
my husband up a couple of times.
I've been at the pier and seen people get them all the way up to like 4
Oh,
feet
have
from
you?
it,
Yeah.
and then
Bloop.
yeah.
There it
Oh man,
Down
goes.
it goes,
you just
yeah.
see the heart, the person
Yes.
melt
Yeah.
right there.
Especially flounder, because they're so finicky, and
Yeah,
they
they are.
barely got a hold of that bait, and there it goes. Bye.
Yep.
Yeah.
And all that hard work, and you're like,
Yes.
But
But
that's
you
the fun
also,
thing.
not just fish, you crab also.
I do.
Let's talk about crustaceans.
Okay,
Mm.
I can do that.
supposed to do this now?
Yes.
Do this, right?
Wait, you didn't have to.
Well,
Okay.
That was
felt like I
completely
had
up to
to.
you. That was
Right.
on you. But you do. You crab as well, right?
I do. My uncle and I own a commercial license, and so we have about 40. Well, we've about 60 to 70 crab pots, and we commercial crab, and then we pull them every 4 or 5 days. and then we sell them. And usually most of them go up north. But like I said, part of some of the trips I take, we go and show people that, and we show them what a crab looks like, and just talk them through it. Do some clamming. Clamming's always fun. Get you in the water, and they're always good to eat too.
That was one of my favorite things to do when I lived on Ocracoke.
Yeah.
Is like get off work at 5:30, 6 o'clock, and then go do just a little sunset clamming for an hour and a half.
Yep.
It's beautiful.
I mean,
out there. Just,
around here,
digging
it's
your
really
toes in the mud. Why are you looking at me like that?
Did you have the white boots?
No, we're doing it barefoot because you'd find them with your feet.
Yeah.
Okay.
You'd walk around.
Yeah, you
and
gotta
feel
really
it.
feel.
Not the rake.
Well, you would pull it up with the rake, but you
Okay.
would.
Go with your-
you can't see it, but I'm actually doing it under the table right now. Like I've gone back
Wiggle
into
your
it.
toes.
Yeah. But yeah, use your toes to just kind of drag it through the mud, and then you'll feel like a little tink.
But this was in the summertime.
Yes.
Okay.
Well, I mean, whenever. No, it was more fall. It was more fall.
So
yeah.
what do you call those white boots? In my house,
Steve's Ferry flip flops.
say in our house it's Harker's Island Weegians.
Either one
That was
works.
a tough question because I am a fisherman, and they call it a lot different
They
out there,
do.
and I had to keep
They
it
do.
at G-rate. You know,
Oh,
I
I
can see
didn't know
it.
that there was a bad
they're
word.
like
Well,
click,
yeah.
click, click,
There's
click.
a few.
Oh, I didn't know there was bad
There's a
ones.
bunch. Yeah, there's a bunch
Yeah.
of words for them.
I didn't
That's why I
know.
was looking at you like, are you glad?
I know. I saw
Are you
your
glad?
face, and I was like, no, that'll be good.
You kept him above ground, no rabbit hole.
Above the water.
Well, speaking of water, but when
Yes, but I do have fisherman boots. I mean, you have to have them.
Yes.
I mean, when you
Have
get
to.
out there cold water,
But-
it's
I
good.
can't fish barefoot
Really?
because it hurts my back.
Yeah, if you walk around the boat all day. Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
as the water's getting colder, I mean, we know that but with the crabs, do they disappear? Do they go in the mud?
So crabs eventually will mud up. I mean, there's a certain temperature in which they start kind of going down, and they won't be around. They're still around now. They also go to deeper holes. So you try to go, and fish are the same way. They go into deeper holes, and so that's where that's where the fishing comes in. When you know the different temperatures of the water, and you got to work your pots, and you got to move them around, so that's you're maximizing the number to jump into a pot. Because if you're pulling one pot and getting one crab, that's a long day, a real long day.
Do you use a depth finder?
I do. I use basically a depth finder to find out the different depths, and you can also see fish down there. If there's a lot of red, you can see bait too, and that determines if you're going to give it a shot or not.
We had an old hummingbird on the back of the Fishmaster, little 17-footer, and we used to call it the Sunday schedule because it was never accurate. It
Yeah.
was never accurate. We're like, oh, it's Sunday schedule.
I don't know what
So-
that means.
They're very high tech now.
Yeah,
It
they're
just was
touch
never
screen. I got
accurate.
touch
Yeah.
screen. I do all that.
It was. I mean, we're talking 28 years ago.
Okay, gotcha.
But yeah, if it would get a little bubble and all of a sudden it said you were in 50 feet of water and you were in 3, that kind of stuff. It was never accurate. So we used to call it the Sunday schedule.
Yeah, I'm going to be honest. I never used to have one when I got one. Now I feel lost without one. You just get used to it.
You do.
And you just
With the
you fish with
water
it.
and
Because you get water temperatures, you get depth, you get
Yeah, there's a lot to it.
Yeah.
It really it helps, especially if you're taking shortcuts and depending on the tides. You know what you can get through, what you can't go through, and stuff. So I use them a lot.
Yeah.
Most fishermen do have something to use.
Well, I have one last question
Uh-oh.
for you. I mean, you might have more, but how many hooks have you gotten in your leg,
That
hands?
is funny.
How many hooks?
That's a great question. So me personally, and it wasn't even on my boat; it was on a buddy's boat. I did get one hook in the hand. So
Treble? Treble hook?
Treble, yeah.
Ooh.
It was a stinger hook because we were actually out in the ocean. And it got me, and I'll tell you, we tried everything. Put ice in the hand, try to pull it through. Skin is tough. You're not
Yeah.
going through that.
Yes.
But I'll tell you, I have some funny story. My boat's pretty safe, and only twice have somebody really got hooked bad. But there's nothing like it when you're sitting there looking this way, and you hear bam, and then you hear and you turn around, and your best buddy's got a hook right here.
Oh, no.
And it's sitting there, and the bait's sitting. But the best is you have to drive him to the hospital.
That's
so the whole
right.
time you're driving, the bait's going like this, wing, 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 wing.
Flipping. Yes.
And it's hard not to. I mean, you're laughing at him. You're look at this. That is hilarious.
Yes.
But when you do go to the emergency rooms there, they got cork boards full
Yep.
of them everywhere. It's
Yeah.
it's actually an experience you got to go to once because everybody's sitting there for the same reason, usually on Saturday or Sunday. They all feel mortified because they're in there because it's stuck here. And then when they cut it off, the doctor says, "Well, you made the famous board," and there's like hundreds of them.
Yes.
Oh my
and they say that's the sixth board I've gone through in the last 2 months.
Oh my gracious.
It's
So
a
can you
scary
not? You can't just
experience.
clip the hook and back it out.
So you can, but
can.
if it's not all the way through the skin,
You either got to
Oh, I
push it all the
see.
way
Oh, I see.
through, or
it's
a
tough.
little
All right, well, let's get
needle
queasy
trick.
here. How do they
Yeah.
solve that?
It's a needle trick, so they can put a needle in there
Yeah.
and grab that bar and then secure it so they can back it back out. Or it may be far enough, just
see,
Smile.
This is where we teach EMS triage
Yeah.
on the boat. I mean, I'm telling you, there's a lot of education
you.
going on a boat.
Medical
you know?
Assistance Recognition Day.
Medical assistant, you need them.
You got to have them.
But yeah,
Make 'em your
it's tough.
friends.
You can't.
It's
I mean, even
Yeah.
the toughest of guys. I mean, they may once or twice, but it's
Yes.
tough to go through your skin.
my husband had
Yeah.
it was my drum that he was trying to get out of the net and get it done, and so the drum's on one side of the treble hook, my husband's knee is on the other side, and I'm having to call someone to help because I'm out, like, oh, I'm done. There is nothing I can do for you right now except
Oh,
just
man.
say breathe. And so and when we went to the emergency room, it was during
you
like
still have the
a
big
flu.
fish?
I was having to hold the fish so he
Oh my
wouldn't, because he's
Shake
pretty
all
big.
over, yeah.
Yeah,
You
because
couldn't
it was
just cut the
it was a
fish?
slot fish. So then we get to the emergency room and it happened to be like flu season.
Oh,
And when he
man.
come in, he was like, "Well, I have a hook in my knee." They were like, "Yes, this is exciting!" So they were glad to get the hook out of his knee. So it's
Yeah.
a scary
Yeah, they
thing.
don't really hurt. They shock you a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
Because you're like, there's a hook.
And they're
in there.
sore.
Yeah, and you don't want to see it, right? Because
No.
it's going to be worse once you actually see what it
Yes.
looks like.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And then once it goes in, you're all right. But then once you see it, and then you go to the doctor, and they do a
Yeah.
couple things, and you're good to go.
Yeah.
So,
It's,
yeah. But there are more good times than there are bad times,
That's
just
right.
for the record.
Well,
you know,
it just makes a memory. So
It does.
It made a memory that day for sure.
It's funny you said that too, because we take pictures all the time, and so we have a collage books, of the kids growing, me growing, getting rounder, and
No judgment here.
no judgment, yeah, okay, but yeah, and so it just bring memories, and we'll talk about it, and we'll be competitive. So it's just a good hobby to have in general.
It's funny with your boys. Well, my girls, I had a picture of their first fish. So Brianna's first fish was a spot that she caught off of by the trellis at Beaufort.
Nice.
Beaufort, what do you call that?
The inlet, the bridge.
By the old bridge, the trellis. The
Trellis,
trellises, yeah. And then Michaela's, although Michaela got hers at a trout farm, which her sister said was cheating.
It's kind of like fishing in a bucket, yeah.
But it was bigger. And so then it's like, yeah, but mine was bigger. So, but I had them framed like one on top of the other. And so there was always that competition. So that picture actually was in the kitchen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's funny you say that. One time Fenton and I were fishing in a river up in the mountains, and we weren't having any luck, like fishing out there all day for 2 days. And then as we were about to leave, this guy came out there that was a local, and was like, the reason you're not catching anything is because they been living out at the farm and they just dumped it in there. You got to fish with corn. They won't hit anything but corn.
Because that's all they were accustomed to.
Oh.
Yeah,
Did you try it?
Well, we were leaving. Like he imparted this information as we were leaving.
No canned
But yeah.
corn in his back pocket.
Yeah.
But so because it was a stocked river, and they feed them
That
corn
is
before they send
awesome.
them.
I
Yeah.
didn't know fish ate
Yeah.
corn.
So
Yeah.
always
Yeah.
keep corn.
River-
That was a new one for
River
me.
and pond fish, yeah. You try different stuff, yeah.
That's
Most
awesome.
definitely.
We could talk fishing
We
for
could.
another episode.
Yes.
I could
Yes.
talk
But
it all
we're
day
getting
long.
close to the end, and we've got
Yeah.
a couple events coming up in town that we want to discuss. So,
Yeah, we got to talk about some community events.
yes, but Gery, will you come back and talk fishing again in the
Sure.
future? Like we're
Most
changing
definitely.
season. What do we need to do next?
Sure, most definitely. Love
Okay.
to. Love
Awesome. Very good. Well,
All right. Well, Gery, thanks for coming on the show.
Yes.
We're going to talk about a few events now coming up in our
to.
community.
Thank you very much.
you don't
I
have to
enjoyed
go
it.
anywhere. You can stay put.
I'll stay right here.
So you
Stay
can-
quiet.
You'll be in the no. Actually, we can hand it to you. You can do one too.
All right. So I'll go first.
You go first.
I don't know which side is first. I
Ghost.
think. Okay, great. Ghost Walk, Thursday through Saturday, October 20th through 22nd from 6 to 9 p.m. Ghost Walk is a family-friendly event that combines spirits from New Bern's past, talented local volunteer actors, historic sites, and a fun-filled creative environment. We actually had somebody from Ghost Walk on our show last week, so check out that show if you didn't see it. This is not a haunted house or homes tour. Guides will lead you through stops in the cemetery at which you will hear lively stories. Our guest last week was quite lively, wasn't he?
I just like the pun. Lively ghosts.
No,
Ba-dum-bum.
I'm not having it. The remainder of the event is self-guided with spirited characters located on the porches in downtown New Bern. Downtown theaters provide great skits, and local churches offer a variety of low-cost meals for Ghost Walk visitors. Tickets can be purchased online at newbernhistorical.org.
And the local churches also offer potties.
Yes. I was going to say food.
Very
I thought
important.
you were going to say
They
live
offer
bait.
food
Nope.
as
Nope.
well as a
Live bait.
restroom stop.
Restroom stops. Okay, so in addition to, we got a lot going on downtown this week.
Yes.
Weekend. Friday is Art Walk. It's October 21st from 5 to 8. Love a Friday fall art walk. Join downtown businesses and restaurants for opening receptions, demonstrations, special events, and much more. And Veronica, who was on our show several weeks ago, she's got an art exhibit also, so please go in. I think it's at Bank of the Arts.
Bank of the Arts?
Yes.
Yep.
So,
Okay.
and she's one of our instructors here.
All right, next we have Mum Feast, in keeping with the spirit of Mum Fest. It will be Friday, October 21st from 5 p.m. to Saturday, October 22nd at 11 p.m. So keep in mind the streets of downtown New Bern will be closed to vehicles during Friday, the 21st at 5 until Saturday at night at 11. So participating restaurants can provide the Feast in the Streets, and that's going to include breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Stores can join in by selling a unique mix of merchandise on the sidewalks and streets. And there's also a great lineup of live music. I know there was a great concert last weekend, so I'm sure there's going to be some great music again. Be sure to check out the famous Mum Fest Mums at the Union Point Park and the lot next to Mitchell's Hardware, where you'll see the Mum Ark and our 50-foot long welcome sign. Both features are made entirely out of mums grown here in eastern North Carolina. If you haven't seen it, the Ark is now an actual full bloom.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
And the welcome, I think, all but maybe the E.
Is not open yet?
I don't think there was one or two letters that still weren't quite open yet. So
I just want to know if we could somehow get a tally of how many of the mum pictures make it into the Christmas card.
ooh,
You know, that'd be kind of cool. Like,
question.
how many Mum Fest mum pictures make it
Yes.
to the Christmas card? Because you see all these posts and all these people. I mean, there was a line. It
There
took
always is, yeah.
forever to just go and get your
it's
picture.
beautiful.
Yeah.
So take advantage of that
Yeah.
beautiful scenery.
The
downtown
welcome
New Bern.
sign was new this year, though, wasn't
Yes,
it?
It was,
All right,
yeah.
good. All right. All Hallows this Saturday, October 22nd from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Witches,
Ooh.
ghosts, and other creatures are taking over Triumph Palace.
Interesting
Do
picture.
I wonder if I know who's in that. I'll probably do. Bring the kids dressed in their favorite costume and get into the Halloween spirit. While wandering the haunted grounds, you'll encounter friendly witches and ghosts. You may even encounter the headless horseman in search of Ichabod Crane.
Good job.
Are you laughing at me? Yes. Designed for ages 12 and under, the brave children who attend All Hallows Eve will be treated. I guess that means they won't be tricked, right? All passes for All Hallows Eve include admission to the Triumph Palace Gardens. Palace tours require additional admission. Tickets can be purchased at the North Carolina History Center or by calling 252-639-3524. The event is free for children ages 12 and under, dressed in Halloween costumes, $4 for ages 13 to 18, $10 for adults, free for members of the Triumph Palace Foundation. It's a fun event. Did that several times with Fenton when he was younger, and it's just cool to walk around and you get to see the gardens as well. So it's definitely worth the trip.
Fun.
Yeah,
Very good.
kids just like to dress up. Gives them a reason to dress up
And
in another costume.
Dress up on the boat in princess
Yes.
shoes.
Yeah,
Yes.
exactly.
Clonk, clonk, clonk. Oh, here we go. I'll never live that down.
And I think the last one we have is Boomerang, show at Rivertown Players, Saturday, October 22nd from 7:30 to 10 p.m. Pull out your bell-bottoms, paisley tops, aquanet, or parachute pants. It's time to party like it's the 60s, 70s, and 80s. Come out for an evening of music that'll have you reminiscing of the wonder years. Retro outfits strongly encouraged. This event will take place at the Masonic Theater. Boomerang. Come out and see them.
Sounds cool.
Do we know how much the tickets are for that?
I don't. I can't make it because I'm going to be seeing the cover band OK Boomerang.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Very cool.
No, really? You think,
So
you think I'm being serious right now?
No, I don't know.
Okay. Sorry. Yes, it's not a real band.
Oh,
I mean, they're doing a play on words. You understand that, right? Boomer?
yeah.
Baby boomer? Okay boomer?
Oh, no, I didn't get that.
It's fine.
But thank you for
It's
sharing.
fine. It's okay. Wait, no, now you're angry at me.
I'm not angry.
I've got the booth angry at me for banging on the table.
I
I've
am
got
not,
you angry at me.
I am not angry. I'm more angry that I have to reminisce about I don't have any bell bottoms. Never have. Paisley top I wore last week. Do
you still use Aquanet?
they don't make
They
it
still make
anymore.
it? Yeah, I was wondering if they still made Aquanet.
No, they don't make it. But I use hairspray. We know.
Yeah. Yes.
And parachute pants I did have. I had pink parachute pants with pockets.
The bell bottoms are making a comeback. So the flare kind
I'm
of
too short for bell bottoms.
It's got to be the right pair.
Yeah. Boom.
I'm definitely guilty of having the Aquanet and parachute pants in middle school. I had both of those.
He had a mullet, just so you know, with a perm.
Yeah.
Ooh, a perm. The mullet, not the perm. That's another level.
Naturally curly.
With Aquanet.
Right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a college roommate, and that's what she used. She had the bleach blonde permed hair that was the bob with the bangs, and she used Aquanet. And she would sit cross-legged in front of the door that had the full-length mirror, and must have spent 20 minutes spraying.
I like it.
How we don't die of like some Aquanet lung disease or something.
So for anyone who is still watching by the end of the show, post photos in the comments of your favorite fish that you've caught.
Yes.
Or of your favorite 1980s hairspray do that you've had.
Anything from
Or-
60s, 70s, 80s.
Or-
what your costume might be.
Yeah.
Or your Mum Fest pictures
Or your
in
Mum
front of
Fest
the arc
pictures.
or the welcome sign.
Yeah.
That's
That would
right.
be really
Yeah.
cool to have.
Love to fill them up with all those wonderful
Yes.
pictures.
That's
be
right.
very good. So we will be back next week.
We will.
Which is the 25th, I think. Zanetta, is that right?
Oh, the 26th, I think.
Is that 26?
I can't count.
Yeah, it was
like,
1, 2,
It doesn't
3.
matter. Next Wednesday, we'll be
Next
here.
Wednesday, we'll be
Wednesday.
here, the 26th. So,
I'm looking forward to it.
yeah, me too. So anything else?
I don't think so.
Anything else?
I think we've covered
I
it.
think that's
Gary,
good.
Oh,
anything
thank
else?
you. It's fun.
Yeah.
Enjoyed.
Glad
How big
you were
was the
here.
fish, Gary?
Big.
He was heavy.
Yes.
Thank you again for coming. We want you
Yep.
to come back and give
No
us
problem.
a spring update and what kind of plastics to use or not use. So, awesome. Anything else?
No, that's good.
Can I throw us out?
Go
Go
ahead.
for it.
Y'all have a wonderful weekend. You got so much to do. Thank you for coming in and sharing In to Know with us today in the studio of the Dark Room studio here at Public Radio East, Craven Community College. Stay safe, stay happy, stay healthy. We'll see you next week. Take care.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.